Good morning, everybody. Mr. Spottleson here. Today is Wednesday, May 6th, and we're going to focus on a little bit of review today, getting ready for the quiz that we're going to take on Friday. First thing here is our homework that was due yesterday is page 826, numbers 3 through 31 odd. Okay, so I'm going to scroll through these and allow you to just kind of check your answers. If you have any questions on some of them, that'd be a great opportunity to message me on Remind, and we could have a conference and talk about why it's this or why it's that. So let's scroll through these, and you guys can check those with what you had on your homework. Okay, so for 3, we had y equals -8. For 5, we have x equals -144. For 7, we have x equals 27. For 9, we have x equals 50. For 11, we have x equals -2. For 13, we have y equals 9. For 15, we have a equals 64. And for 17, we have x equals 16. For 19, we have x equals 16. For 21, we have x equals 4/9. For 23, we have x equals 100. For 25, we have x equals 5. For 27, we have x equals 13. For 29, we have x equals 6. And for 31, we have x equals 2. Okay, so check those. If you missed one, try to figure it out. If you can't figure it out, it's a great opportunity for you to ask a question here before we take the quiz. Okay? All right. 11-8. We're going to review here about 8 and then about 12 problems here. Get us ready for the quiz, and then I will let you guys go ahead and start the review guide. Okay? All right, so here we're multiplying. Okay? And we're just multiplying 2 square roots, so we're just going to take the 6 times the 11. Okay? And in this case here, that's going to equal radical 66. Okay? And we always have to check to see if we can simplify. Okay? So we have to see, are there any square roots that divide clean out of 66? So we've got 1, we've got 4, we've got 9, we've got 16, we've got 25, we've got 36, we've got 49, and we've got 64. None of those divide clean out of there, so our answer is just radical 66. Okay. For 24, same thing, we multiply. We get radical 24. 3 times 8 is 24. Now this one will simplify. We can divide out a radical 4 here. So this can simplify to radical 4 times radical 8. Oh, not 8. What am I doing? Radical 6. And the square root of 4 is 2, so we end up getting for an answer 2 radical 6. All right. 4. We're going to go ahead and multiply everything here. We're going to get 4 radical 36x squared. Okay, 12 times 3 is 36. X times x is x squared. Now, these are like 2 different square roots. So we'd have 4 times 36 times x squared, all under radicals. So that'd be 4 times square root of 36 is 6 times square root of x squared is just x. And 4 times 6 times x, the answer is going to be 24x for our answer there. Okay. For 26, we're probably going to need some more room here, but we will give it a try. For 26, we have to FOIL, okay? And we FOIL just how we have before. 3 times 5 gets me 15. 3 times radical 3 gets me plus 3. Oh, no. Gets me 3 radical. I keep pushing that button. Gets me 3. Ooh. There we go. 3 radical. Oh no, this is not good. It's disappeared here now. Okay, hold on. All right, and then we've got minus 5 radical 3. And then we've got the last one here. So we did front times front. We did outer times outer. We did inner times inner. And now we're going to do last times last. And we're going to get minus radical 9 because 3 times 3 is 9. Okay? Then it becomes a little bit of simplifying. Okay? First thing I'm going to do is 15 plus, and then if we get 3 radical 3 minus 5 radical 3, I'm not going to simplify that yet. We'll come back to that one. And then radical square root of 9 is 3, so I have minus 3. Now we have 2 different like terms. We have these that are like terms, and we have those that are like terms. Okay? So the first one is the 15 and the negative 3 combined at 12. Now, since these have the same radical sign, they are like terms, so you can combine the positive 3 and the negative 5. In this case, you're going to have minus 2 radical 3. Okay, and we've talked about that before. It's just like combining terms. If I had 3x and negative 5x, I would get negative 2x. In this case here, I just did the 3 and the negative 2, combined them and kept the same radical. So my answer is going to be 12 minus 2 radical 3. All right, so for dividing, if you remember in dividing when we made the video, we had 4 steps, okay, that we talked about here. All right, step 1 was to simplify fractions. Step 2 was to reduce radicals. Then it was to rationalize. And if you forgot what rationalizing is, we're going to talk about it in a second. And then 4 was to simplify / reduce again. Now, I wrote that pretty quick, but if you remember me saying, it's very important to follow our steps here of 1 and then 2 and then rationalize. If you get super excited and try to rationalize before you simplify and reduce, it causes a lot of problems. Remember, rule 4 is only there if you screw up and rationalize first. Okay, so it's very important that we follow these steps. So for the first one here, number 27, we have radical 19 over radical 3. Okay, first thing I'm checking is, can I simplify the fraction? No. Can I reduce the radicals? I cannot reduce either of these, so I can go right to rationalizing. Okay, I take 19 times 3 and I get radical 57. I take radical 3 times radical 3 and just get 3. Okay. Can I reduce radical 57? No. Can't simplify anything here. That's my answer. Now, for number 28, okay, the first thing I want to do is see, can I reduce this fraction at all? In this case, I can. 14 over 8 can be reduced to 7 over 4. So I'd have radical 7 over radical 4. Again, all I did is divided all of these by 2. From here then, radical 7 stays the same, and then square root of 4 is going to be just 2. So my answer is going to be radical 7 over 2. Same thing for 16. Okay, I can simplify this 6b over it's radical 6b over radical 8, and I can simplify it into radical 2b over radical 3. Now I've simplified. I can't reduce these radicals at all, so now I can rationalize by doing radical 3 times radical 3. This is going to get me on the top here. This is going to get me radical 6b. And the bottom is going to be 3. Okay. On the last one, I'm going to go right to simplifying. If I simplify this here, this actually turns out to be really easy. 27 over 3 simplifies to just radical 9 over radical t. Okay. And we can go ahead and rationalize now. So we're going to multiply this by radical t, and we're going to multiply this by radical t. In this case now we'll have radical 9t over t. And then radical 9 will simplify to just 3 radical t over t. Because t times t is going to be t squared, and the square root of t squared is just t. Make that look like a t. Okay? All right, so we end up for our answer there. We get 3 radical t over t. I hope that you see that simplifying these first makes everything a world. It's so much easier. If you didn't simplify this one here, you'd take radical 8 times radical 8, and then you'd take radical 14 times radical 8. You'd get super high numbers, and you'd have a lot of simplifying. Same thing here. You end up with 48, then you'd have to do simplifying, then you'd have to simplify an outside fraction, and it would get ugly and annoying. Okay? If you follow my steps that I wrote there, again, first step is to reduce or simplify fractions. Step 2 is to reduce your radicals, then rationalize. And then if you have to, again, and I don't know if you will see a problem where you have to double simplify. Okay? All right. Let's move to section 11.9 for a little bit here. Okay, these are solving radical equations. If you remember, the most important thing was you have to get everything away from the radical first, then you can square both sides. So in this case here, I have to add the 4 over first and get rid of that. I'm going to get radical x is equal to 21 plus 4 gets me 25. Okay. Now I can take, I can square this and square this to cancel that out. And I'm going to get x equals, and then 25 squared is 625. Okay. Remember, you can take that answer and you can go right back up to your problem here and check your answer every time. Okay. Same thing here. We have to get rid of the number by the radical. This is -3 times, so we're going to divide first by -3. That gives me radical x is equal to 4. And then I can square this side and square this side. That'll cancel out my radical sign there. And I'm left with x equals 4 squared, which is 16. Okay. All right, last two here. First one, I've got 5 radical x over 2. First, I got to get this out of a fraction, so I'm going to multiply by 2, multiply by 2. That leaves me with 5 radical x equals 80. Now I can go ahead and divide 5. So I divide by 5 on this side, and I divide by 5 on this side. This leaves me with radical x equals 80 divided by 5 is going to give me 16. Now I'm going to go ahead and square both sides. So I square root, okay. And I'm going to get x is equal to 256. So that canceled there. Okay. I think I have one more. Okay, good. All right, on this one, a little bit more complicated. The first thing I need to do is I need to get radicals on opposite sides of the equal sign. So I need to add this 43 minus x on this side, and then I need to add this radical 43 minus x on this side. Okay, I'm sorry, not subtract, add. There we go. So then now I'm going to be left with radical 4x minus 2 is equal to radical 43 minus x. I'm going to square and square both sides. That's going to cancel here and cancel here. And I'll be left with just 4x minus 2 is equal to 43 minus x. From here, we're just solving. I'll add x, I'll get 5x minus 2 is equal to 43. I'll add 2, and I'll have 5x is equal to 45. If I divide by 5, I'll get x equals 9. Okay? So that is just a quick review of me just kind of running through some example problems. I think it's important that you see that. From here now, we will post the review guide. I'd like you guys to complete that. We'll turn it in by Thursday, and then we will take our quiz on Friday. You'll have all day Friday to take it. Okay? Just like we did last time. If you've made it to the end of the video and you put your name, so you put your name here and you go, oh, hold on, and you go Brockton Wise, or obviously put your name, not Brockton's name, and then you put a smiley face at the end, I will give you a +1. Okay. All right, complete that review, guys. Due Thursday at 11:59. Again, if you had any questions on either any of these examples or on the homework problems, send me a reminder. We'll do a conference. I've really appreciated the people that have set those up, and we've been able to talk and figure some stuff out. All right, see you guys next time.